A single case of sexual assault on a child in a school is one case too many. But Bangalore has seen many such cases in the past few months. Cases that have grabbed headlines and caused disquiet, fear, a sense of disturbance in the community, and of course trauma to the child and his or her family. Joining me now are a group of concerned Bangaloreans to look ahead, to try and think of some ideas that can help to stop this terror, this horror. How can we put an end to this trauma for the children? Pratima, we'll start with you. You're a teacher in a school here. What is the liability of the school? What is the responsibility of the school as you see it?
The responsibility starts when the child enters the school and stops when the child leaves the school. And I think that we should do everything possible to make sure that the child is safe, because safety is paramount. Recently, we have had the police come in and give us several guidelines, which we have complied with. My school where I work is a girls' school, so the focus has already been on the safety of the girl child. So we have had a lot of common sense practices put into place. For example, we've always had a lady helper in charge of each toilet block, and regulating people who come in and out. We had also installed CCTV cameras much before they became mandatory. If we could professionalize it so that we can start doing it and be accountable for putting these practices into place.
Absolutely. Now, Sangeeta Saxena, she's spoken about guidelines for schools. Now, you have done a lot of work in the field of sexuality and child abuse. What can we do for the child in such an issue? How do we alert the child?
So the guidelines, yes, they are also being made by various agencies, including the government, the Department of Women and Child Development, UNICEF, various NGOs. We have all come together in Bangalore, and we are developing child protection policies, which will be shared and which will be for the schools to follow. And as Pratima mentioned, that we have the psychologists in it, and people in the field, and lawyers, and people have given their inputs in that. But besides that, one of the major crux in this whole thing is prevention, as she mentioned, and teaching the child simple personal safety rules like no, go, tell, like telling them what are the body safety rules. And if somebody breaks those body safety rules, that person is an offender. You report it. You don't reveal sexual abuse, you report sexual abuse. Like if there's a traffic violation, I'm reporting a traffic violation. It may be against my car or anybody else. So we need to remove this shame that we have attached to parts of the body in the child's mind. We need to put shame where it belongs, which is in the behavior of the person. So anyone who breaks a rule, and these are social rules. If you're living in a society that doesn't wear clothes, we don't have rules like these. But we live in a society that wears clothes. So we teach our children, these are the social rules.
These are the rules. You're talking about teaching children about good touch, bad touch.
Yes, we call it safe touch and unsafe touch. Otherwise the child, internalizes everything. If something bad happened to me, bad touch, somebody touched me in a bad way, then I'm a bad person. So it's only safe touch and even one step beyond that. It is safe behavior and unsafe behavior. And it includes much more than just touch.
Absolutely. Now, as a parent, do you think parents would be comfortable telling children, young children, the assaults have happened on very young children indeed, telling them about body parts, about telling them don't let somebody touch you?
Incidentally, I have two daughters, and one is 8.5 and the other is just about to turn 6. And I did that when we had the case in Vibgyor. My younger one started crying. So she was in tears, and she said, "Why are you asking me to scream, Mama? I can't do that." And why doesn't my eldest sister, Kusha, you should come. You should come and save me. I can't shout. I can't scream. I can't run. So I don't understand. In fact, the children are getting confused now, because at one end, we are actually saying, this is your uncle, who's a relative, trusted, so it's okay. This is your father, this is your mother, this is my best friend, so it's okay. But then, Mama, you told me it's a good touch and a bad touch, and you said other than you, nobody else should. So they're getting confused. The younger lot is getting confused. Each day, trust me, each day. You had Vibgyor, you had Orchid, you have this one yesterday, less than a week. Each day, I end up checking my daughters. I end up asking, did anyone touch you? Incidentally, she's ill, she's having tummy pain, she's at home, I was in office, I rushed here, but I have to ask her in the middle of the night, did anyone touch you?
Oh my God. Yeah. What a situation. What a situation for a parent. Now, you're also a parent of young children at school. Do you share Aditi's feelings in terms of that concern, that questioning of your child? Is everything all right?
It's very difficult to even ask such questions, and they are already in a confused state.
Yes.
And to ask that itself brings them into a commotion. So they're not still able to get out of that whole muck that's happened, and it's not stopping. So it started with Vibgyor, and we have endless, and these are the only ones that are reported. There are innumerous unreported cases, so I don't know. Whatever guidelines we fix, somebody should own it.
Yes, the ownership. I mean, like, we have these guidelines. We've had guidelines issued by the police commissioner. We've had well-meaning people coming out with several ideas, several guidelines as well. But what about accountability? We have all these rules, we have all these laws in place. But what happens next? What happens to the person who is caught, for example?
The one thing we have to understand when it comes to child protection issues in schools, for sexual harassment of women at the workplace, you had something called as the Vishaka guidelines. But unfortunately, you don't have something similar as far as school's responsibility towards a child is concerned.
Okay, you think there should be something clearly formulated what schools need to do for child safety.
Having said that, the law looks at two ways of affixing liability on a school. One is a criminal liability. To that, we need to look at the provision of abatement under the POCSO Act, which says that when there is a person who has a duty towards a child and he or she illegally omits to do that duty with the intention of facilitating the crime, he or she is guilty of abatement. Now the question is, what about intention? To that, POCSO says we will assume the intention exists in the mind of the person that he or she wants to facilitate the crime unless she can prove otherwise.
That is very, very tough. So onus of proving innocence is on the person, which is why the chairman of that first school was arrested.
Exactly. So Section 30 of POCSO says we will assume that he or she did it with malified intentions until he or she proves otherwise.
Okay, that is really very tough.
It's very tough.
Mohandas Pai, you've helped to run a major company, Infosys. You're in the field of education now. What are your thoughts on what can be done? Is it just mindset? Can we police it out? Can we regulate this kind of thing out?
Maya, I think we need to have health and safety standards in every school. Schools have to adopt health and safety standards which deal with things like this, and the standards have to be very clear. There has to be a process of educating the teachers and the staff about their responsibilities. They have to internalize it. They have to sign up to it. And there has to be periodic audits, and those audit reports have to be given to the school management. There has to be a process to deal with it, and when some things happen, the school has to deal with it and punish people openly and take action against them, so everybody understands what their responsibilities and roles are. Today, schools don't understand their responsibilities and roles. They are in denial. They live in denial. Even if something's happened, they try to hush it up because they feel it's shameful. They must be told that these things you must act upon. Hiding them is shameful.
One suggestion has been only have female teachers for young students. Do you agree with that?
I think that in a girls' school, that happens automatically. But in boys' schools, and now I can see that a lot of very talented and very socially aware boys are choosing teaching as an alternative careers. Even people from, who have engineering degrees want to become teachers. So it would be a pity to discourage these kind of people.
Only women teachers for younger students?
Younger students, only women teacher? No, I think I would suggest that we don't turn our men into monsters and instill the fear of men in our small children. No, we need to present the world as a safe place, which actually it is. And we do not want to instill fear in the child that somebody will touch me, somebody will do this. Just present the world as a safe place. Tell them that there may be a few people who may trouble, who may break rules. If somebody does that, come and report, and that person is doing the wrong thing.
What do you think, Mr. Pai? Only women teachers for young students? Is that a valid suggestion?
Well, I would prefer women teachers because we have a problem in society and we should not take any risk. And I think the welfare of the child is good. I would like to be very liberal and say we need everybody, but I would prefer women teachers, and I think I would prefer women to deal with young children because they understand it. It's not being sexist or it's not being anything else, or gender biased, but that's my preference.
That's what you would prefer.
Absolutely, because I'm not going to be diplomatic here at all. Seeing the current situation out here in my city, yes, I think I would prefer only women teachers around.
Revati, you're part of BPAC and you're also working in the field of trying to get the sort of systems in place that Mr. Mohandas Pai was talking about, trying to get some sort of regulation going. What is the work you're doing with that? What would you like to see?
Okay, we are looking at it in various dimensions. It's complicated. We are looking at prevention, we are looking at emergency response, and then we are looking at judicial action. So we've done a fair amount of work in all these areas. On the prevention side, what we are looking at is a comprehensive child protection and safety policy, which we hope can be accepted by all schools and all stakeholders, and parents can understand what it is, and we publicize it. So just like an ISO 9000, if schools could just put it up on their website that this is the policy that we stand by, and this is what we will voluntarily regulate ourselves, and then we put together a checklist, and if that checklist is something that schools can adopt, again it will be voluntary because it's going to take some time for governments to wake up and respond. But if all the progressive schools can set an agenda that over the next 6 months we will train the people, we will train our teachers. Our trainers are ready. We have the legal people out here, the trainers out here, the framework is ready, the schools agreeing that we need a core number of at least 10 schools to come forward and say, we will take it, we will be the pilot, we will lead the way.
So to start with one school, to start with these clear guidelines for schools, that would really be a step forward perhaps in securing the safety of the children of India. Time for a short break. We'll be back after that with more from these concerned Bangaloreans.